The wind bit through the city streets like a knife, carrying a chill that seemed determined to seep into every bone. Emily huddled on the cold, deserted train platform, her nurse's coat wrapped around her trembling frame, but it barely helped. The world had turned gray for her since the accident at the hospital, leaving her with emptiness she couldn't shake. Each train that passed seemed to mock her, moving forward while her life felt frozen in despair. Her hands, raw from cold and exhaustion, clutched a worn photograph, her family, smiling, gone. She had come to the station hoping for nothing more than a fleeting escape from her life's relentless weight. Her shifts had grown unbearable, her heart heavy with grief she couldn't explain to anyone. And tonight, under the dim flickering lights, she felt invisible, untethered, as if the world had forgotten her. The freezing metal bench beneath her offered little comfort, yet she remained seated, staring into the distance, counting the seconds between trains. Somewhere, she thought, there had to be warmth, someone who could see the pieces of her shattered soul. Miles away, in the vast open plains, Cole Whitman adjusted his leather gloves and gazed at the horizon from the balcony of his sprawling ranch. A billionaire by birth and ambition, he was no stranger to wealth, yet it often felt like a gilded cage. Business deals, social appearances, and endless responsibilities had dulled the vibrancy of life he once imagined for himself. Tonight, something inside him stirred, a restless pull, an intuition he could not name. Maybe fate had a plan, he thought, as the city lights flickered far in the distance, waiting to reveal a life-altering encounter. Cole's private jet touched down at the city's small airport, but his mind lingered on a story he had read that morning, a nurse stranded at the train station, battling freezing temperatures alone. The detail struck him in a way that money never could, someone so vulnerable, yet enduring life's harsh realities with quiet strength. Without thinking, he called his driver, telling him to head toward the train station. There was no reason to intervene, no logical explanation, yet an inexplicable urgency pushed him forward, guiding him to where destiny waited. Emily shivered violently, wrapping her coat tighter around her frail frame. The night seemed endless, and the hum of distant trains only amplified her loneliness. She had lost hope in chance encounters, in strangers, even in the possibility of happiness. Every passing second carried the weight of memories she wished she could erase, the laughter of patients she couldn't save, the cruel accidents of life that left her family missing, the quiet gnawing fear that her life would always be this empty. Then, the faint sound of horse hooves echoed in the distance, a noise so surreal in a cityscape that she blinked in disbelief. Cole arrived at the platform, dismounting from a sleek black horse borrowed from a nearby ranch for the city gala he had postponed. He noticed her immediately, small, shivering, with hair plastered to her face from the wind, and eyes that held stories of heartbreak. He didn't speak, only approached cautiously, sensing that any words could shatter the fragile barrier she had built around herself. For Emily, the sight of him was like a mirage, a rugged figure from another world, offering warmth, protection, and the possibility of escape from the cold both outside and within her heart. "Are you all right?" His voice was deep, calm, yet carried a gentleness that disarmed her. Emily glanced up, startled, unsure if she had imagined the sudden presence. I'm fine," she stammered, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. Something about him was different. He didn't pity her, didn't ask for explanations. He simply extended a thick, leather-gloved hand, and without hesitation, she allowed herself to be pulled up from the cold, metal bench that had become her temporary coffin. The warmth from his coat enveloped her as they walked toward a waiting car. Emily struggled to comprehend how someone like him, wealthy, powerful, untouchable, would even notice her. Every nerve in her body screamed to stay guarded, yet something magnetic about Cole made it impossible. He never pried, never questioned her silence, only offered quiet words and steady presence. The city passed in a blur outside the tinted windows, and for the first time in months, Emily felt a spark of hope ignite within her, a fragile ember she had long thought extinguished. Cole's penthouse was an oasis of elegance, yet tonight it was transformed by the simplicity of warmth and tea. Emily sat wrapped in a blanket, hands trembling as they cradled a steaming cup. Cole watched from across the room, careful not to overwhelm her, yet drawn by an unspoken bond that seemed to transcend their differences. He admired her resilience, her courage to endure pain silently. Every smile she attempted to offer felt like a victory, every tear she fought back a testament to her strength. And in that quiet apartment, two worlds collided, one of wealth and power, the other of loss and survival, both tethered by something inexplicable. As the night deepened, Emily shared fragments of her story, truncated sentences, fleeting glances, unspoken confessions. Cole listened without interruption, absorbing each detail, each scar etched on her heart. He didn't offer clichés, didn't try to fix her, he simply validated her existence. And as he watched her reveal herself slowly, he felt something stir in the deepest corners of his soul, a desire to protect, to cherish, and perhaps, to heal alongside her. Yet a shadow of fear lingered. Could someone from his world ever truly belong to hers without tragedy striking? The city lights outside mirrored the tumult in Emily's mind. She felt herself falling into a whirlwind she didn't understand, a whirlwind that promised warmth but hinted at the potential for heartbreak. Cole's presence was intoxicating yet frightening, a paradox of comfort and danger. Her heart, long locked away, fluttered despite her better judgment. She wondered if chance had finally aligned their paths, or if she had been foolish to allow hope into her life again. Still, she lingered on the edge of vulnerability, drawn by a force she couldn't name, yet couldn't resist. Suddenly, a loud knock shattered the fragile serenity of the penthouse. Emily jumped, her heart racing. Cole's brow furrowed. Who could that be at this hour? He muttered, moving toward the door. Emily's mind raced. Was this someone from his world, someone dangerous, someone who could undo the fragile peace of this night? The tension in the air was electric, and Emily realized that for the first time, the fear she had carried for years was not from loss, but from the unknown challenges that love and life might bring in tandem. Cole opened the door to reveal a man in a sharp suit, eyes glinting with an unreadable intent. "Cole Whitman," he said, voice clipped, "we need to talk about a business matter immediately." Emily froze, recognizing the abrupt intrusion as more than inconvenient. The man's presence brought a sense of threat, a shadow of reality that Cole's wealth could never shield them from completely. For Emily, it was a jolt back to the coldness she thought she had escaped, a reminder that warmth was always temporary in a world dictated by power and circumstance. Cole's jaw tightened, and his hand brushed against Emily's reassuringly. "Stay here," he whispered, though his eyes betrayed concern far deeper than his words. The suited man stepped closer, tension crackling in the air, and Emily felt the fragile hope she had allowed herself begin to tremble. Outside, the city lights flickered like distant promises, and she realized that tonight was only the beginning. Something was about to shatter the illusion of safety, forcing both of them to confront a danger neither had anticipated, and their hearts would hang in the balance. Cole's hand remained on the doorframe, a silent shield between Emily and the suited man whose intentions were unclear. The man's eyes darted to Emily, calculating, cold. Cole's heart pounded, not with fear for himself, but for the fragile warmth he saw in her. He stepped forward, his presence commanding yet protective. "This isn't the time," he said firmly. The stranger's lips pressed into a thin line, then he smirked. Emily felt a shiver, not from the cold, but from the realization that danger wasn't just outside anymore, it had walked into the sanctuary Cole had offered. Emily instinctively moved closer to Cole, her trembling easing only slightly with his steady presence. She realized she had never trusted anyone this quickly, yet something about him demanded it. Her heart raced, partly from fear, partly from the strange thrill of being seen, truly seen. Cole's eyes met hers, silent words passing between them, "I've got you." That promise, unspoken yet unbreakable, gave her courage she hadn't felt in months. The stranger finally spoke, his tone deceptively calm, "You can't hide her here. She belongs to a world far smaller than yours, Cole." Cole's laugh was low, almost incredulous, tinged with anger. "No one belongs anywhere but themselves," he said. Emily's pulse quickened. She had never heard anyone speak with such certainty, such conviction. The suited man's eyes flickered with frustration. He stepped closer, but Cole's hand on Emily's shoulder radiated quiet dominance. The room's tension felt like a taut wire, ready to snap. Emily's instincts screamed to flee, yet she stood rooted by the magnetism of trust and a dawning realization. This was no ordinary man. Cole was her anchor in a storm she had long weathered alone. Suddenly, the stranger lunged forward, attempting to grab the folder Emily clutched, a small bundle containing secrets from her past hospital work. Cole reacted instinctively, blocking him with the precision of a trained fighter. Chairs scraped across the marble floor as the confrontation escalated. Emily gasped, heart hammering. Her hands shook, not from cold this time, but from adrenaline. She realized that love, like life, sometimes demanded courage beyond fear, and her instinctive decision to stay by Cole's side felt like the first step into reclaiming her own strength. The suited man faltered under Cole's unwavering stance. Emily noticed a flash of recognition in his eyes, as if he hadn't anticipated Cole's determination. "He won't back down," Emily whispered, almost to herself, but Cole heard. He nodded subtly, letting her know she wasn't invisible in this fight. Every detail mattered. The tense posture, the sharp breaths, the unspoken rules of survival. The night had transformed from a quiet, frozen station to a crucible of trust, courage, and connection, binding Emily and Cole together in ways neither of them could have predicted just hours ago. With a final glare, the stranger retreated, realizing that resistance was futile. Emily exhaled, a mixture of relief and shock washing over her. Cole turned to her, brushing back a strand of hair from her face. "You're safe now," he murmured. The words settled in her chest like sunlight after a long winter. She felt tears prick her eyes, not from sorrow, but from an overwhelming gratitude and disbelief. For the first time in months, she sensed the possibility of a future, one where she could trust, laugh, and even love again without fear. Cole offered her his arm, and Emily accepted it with a tentative smile. The city outside still hummed with danger and chaos, but inside the penthouse, there was a fragile calm. He poured 2 glasses of wine, a small gesture that spoke volumes about normalcy, care, and human connection. They clinked their glasses silently, a toast to survival, to chance encounters, and to the unexpected magic of being seen. Emily realized she was no longer just a bystander in her own life. She was a participant, daring to embrace joy despite the scars of the past. Over the following days, Emily began to see a new world open before her. Cole introduced her to his ranch, vast and golden under the sun, far from the freezing streets and lonely nights of the city. She watched horses gallop freely across open fields, the wind lifting her spirits as if it were undoing years of grief with each step. Cole never pressured her, he simply showed her life's possibilities through gestures of patience and understanding. Emily felt herself blossom, laughter returning like a timid bird finding its song after months of silence. Yet, challenges remained. Emily's past refused to let go easily, and news from the hospital reminded her of responsibilities she could not abandon. Cole, sensing her inner turmoil, assured her she didn't have to face it alone. Together, they navigated the delicate balance of duty, desire, and healing. Emily realized that love wasn't about perfection, it was about choosing to stand together through uncertainty. And with every day, every shared sunrise on the ranch, she felt the frozen parts of her heart thawing, replaced by hope and newfound courage. One evening, under a sky ablaze with stars, Cole led Emily to the edge of the prairie. The wind tousled her hair, carrying the scent of wildflowers and freedom. He knelt on one knee, holding a simple ring that shone with understated elegance. Emily's breath caught, heart pounding with disbelief and joy. "I can't promise a perfect life," Cole said, voice earnest, "but I can promise you my heart, every single day." Tears spilled freely, but they were tears of happiness, of relief, of a love forged in adversity and strengthened by courage. Emily knelt beside him, feeling the weight of the past lift as she whispered, "I want to share it with you, every step." They embraced under the vast, star-strewn sky, a promise of unity, trust, and joy. The freezing nights at the train station, the grief and loneliness that once defined her existence, now seemed like distant memories. The twists of fate, the shadows that had threatened to overwhelm them, only made this moment sweeter, brighter, more meaningful. They had found each other, and nothing else mattered. Word of their story spread quietly, yet the legend grew. The billionaire cowboy who found a freezing nurse and the woman who taught him vulnerability, compassion, and joy. The world marveled at their bond, but Emily and Cole cared little for fame. They built a life together rooted in shared experiences, laughter, and the resilience of hearts that refused to surrender. Every morning was a testament to survival, love, and the extraordinary power of unexpected encounters that change destinies. Seasons passed, each one painting their ranch with new colors, new joys, and new memories. Emily continued her nursing, but now with a renewed purpose and balance, while Cole's ventures flourished with her unwavering support by his side. Together, they hosted gatherings for the community, shared stories of courage, and inspired others to embrace life's unpredictability. Their love story, once born in the cold despair of a train station, became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, warmth, love, and happiness were possible. On a quiet evening, with the prairie bathed in golden sunset, Emily and Cole rode side by side on horseback, laughter echoing across the fields. No shadows loomed, no fears lingered. Their hearts beat in unison, each moment a celebration of survival, trust, and love found when least expected. Emily looked at Cole, her eyes shining, and whispered, "This is our forever." He squeezed her hand, smiling, knowing they had not only survived life's storms, they had rewritten their destinies together. And in that perfect, peaceful silence, they finally belonged entirely to each other.